at the halfway point on another season here and forging a nation in Iceland with a threat to Félagið. We had a massive summer ahead of us. Having been knocked out at the semi-finals of the Europa League, we're moving into the summer window with big questions around some of our key players, with some of them looking to make moves abroad. But we also had the big question of, could we win the Euros with Iceland? Well, the answer was no. Despite having optimism that we could get results even against Czechia and Ukraine, we were sorely lacking. We did actually take the lead against hosts Germany through Alan Touage after a lovely cross from Lundahl. Ignore the lagging, it will pick up in a second. But Youssoufa Moukoko and Jamal Musiala, bolstered by some unreal new gens, were just too strong for us, really. Yeah, just too good. And we found ourselves like 3-1 down at half time. Well, in Munich, I think it was. Yeah, proper bing bong ding dong for the second goal, and then it's a penalty for Musiala for the third, and then just after half time, sorry, for Moukoko, and then just after half time, I think it was Musiala made it 4-1, yeah, a bit of a humbling. We did have the misfortune of losing one of our main defenders, a former player of ours in Sveinborn Johannesson, literally just before the tournament. Really, we managed to bring him. We did bring him to the tournament, and he was sort of ready to play some part right towards the end, but yeah, it was too late. As we then followed that 4-2 loss up with a bit of a ding dong against Czechia. They took the lead through an absolute screamer from Krupik before we managed to level the tie. I think it was Valdemarson scored, seized on a poor pass and smashed it past the keeper, who was obviously just a little bit out of position. But then not long after that, they made it 2-1. And I really did feel like we were missing Johannesson at the back here, because we got dunked on from another corner, another cross, sorry. But then it was our turn with Brynjolfsson scoring to make it 2-2 just before, about 10 minutes before half time, before Czechia decided to go and break our hearts again and make it 3-2 with, again, some really quite poor defending, really. Before we then played a really narrow fixture against Ukraine, with a deflected free kick being the only goal of the game. As you can see, aside from the XG, we actually gave a really good account of ourselves in this game, and could have potentially, arguably, better possession, could have potentially looked to sort of get something from it. So that did mean we came bottom in the competition, which was eventually won by Italy, beating England 5-0. Now, I'm just going to touch on the transfers. I've just chucked myself out the way, so I'm not obscuring things too much. Now, we did say that we were going to have we thought we were going to have a big window, and it did certainly turn out to be the case. We'll start with the big outs first, so we'll ignore all of these loan players. So one of the loanees who did actually end up leaving permanently was Sivert Byerson. So he'd actually been on loan at, I want to say, Fram. And then he was someone who we was struggling to get back out on loan, and we didn't actually necessarily see a place. Well, he was never going to have a place in the team. As you can see, he was okay, but he was never going to be a starter for us. And then FFN24 were interested in for him, and we actually managed to get 195k, which I was really happy with. Thomas Niobe and Samuel Tomo, two African youngsters we brought in. Yeah, Cameroon for Niobe, and I think Tomo's Kenyan. Oh no, South African. Managed to get them out into FFN24 as well. I can't remember if we touched on them last time or not, but Mickey Benitez, as we touched on, he actually helped get HK to the Europa League this year. We'll touch on that in a bit. So yeah, we touched on him, Kanchev. Yeah, basically these were just a few of the little rubbishy sales we were talking about. And then a big one happened sort of just at the start of the window. So we were struggling with registration, and we ended up actually not registering Trifonov. Which obviously he wasn't too happy about. He was technically classed as a squad player, so he was one that we decided to gamble on him not objecting too much to not being registered, because we were a bit stuck. We basically had some people had to be cut from the squad, and we actually managed to get 250k for him, and we signed him on a free. For those of you who don't remember, Yeah, signed him on a free. Really happy to get 250,000 for him. He was a good mentor player to have around. He was a good leader, but technical wise, he was definitely a bit lacking. And yeah, we were able to get some money for him, and it seemed a great bit of business. The next big sale was Malik Diallo. I'll open his profile for you. So he has gone to Saudi. So there was bids for him, and he wanted to go. And then in the end, we actually managed to get 7 million for him. Bear in mind, we signed him for about $1 million. He's actually now worth 32 to 45 mil. So basically, this ended up being a bit of a bidding war. So he accepted some bids. I think one was from Al Riyadh for like 4 mil or 5 mil, 2 mil up front, 2.5 mil in installments and 500k based on appearances and stuff like that. And then someone else bid for him. I can't remember who. But basically, we ended up managing to go negotiate up with clubs bidding, and we managed to get 7 million for him from Al Hazem. And I'm pretty sure we have a sell-on clause as well, which I will touch on in a second because that seems to come quite handy with these Saudi bids. So after him, Adrian Carrillo was a player we didn't want to sell either. But then when Napoli bid for him, he was like, "Nope, I'm off. I really want to go." So we managed to get 700k in total, 250k up front. And then with the add-ons, 700k for a player we signed for 50,000. So again, can't really complain. He had played a lot for us. I had high hopes of him being a really big player for us, but as it was, wasn't meant to be. Big clubs came in for him, and he wanted to leave. Same with Ladji Torreira. So a bid came in from Porto over him, and he really wasn't happy about it. And then Southampton bid for him, and in the end, we ended up having to let him go, because he was basically just not happy about staying, and as you can see, it was a great bit of profit for a player I did have sort of good hopes for, that I thought he could potentially turn into a useful little player for us, and he had proved as such. But yeah, not going to be. To be fair, I think getting a little bit of money for him was great business. Lucky Matlu, Al Hazem came in for him. He was someone who had featured quite a bit for us when we signed him from Cape Town City. But again, Al Hazem came in, he wanted the move. I wasn't going to force him to stay when we had other players who could play in his role, and arguably better all-round players than him. So yeah, we were happy to sort of do that deal in the end. And then Nicholas Becker, we touched on in the last episode, and Diego Polo is someone who has been out on loan at Breither. They've had the 65k clause in the loan deal for about 2 seasons. They tried to buy him. Last year, he rejected it, but he stayed on loan, and this year they bid for him, and he did accept it. In terms of ins, the main one, I think, really was probably this dude, Marcos Rodriguez Vasquez. We actually managed to beat the likes of Atleti and stuff. They bid for him, but he did decide to come to us. 225k release clause. Basically, we brought him in for 2 reasons. He is a EU-based striker, so we don't have to worry about foreign player rules. He was only 18 when we signed him, good potential. And Calico Umkonatsi wants to leave. So he wanted to go to Saudi. I think we'd rejected a bid, which was way low what his value was. And then he was really unsettled. So we ended up basically just like leaving him out of the team. And then he was moaning about not getting game time. And then all of a sudden, but then he wasn't too bothered, but he still wants to leave. So I'm hoping that Al Arabi are going to come for him in January, and they'll just take him off our hands. We signed him for free. We're going to get some money for him. It's, we can't really complain. He's someone it's really annoying because I think he's a really useful player. He's got really good physicals for the level that we're at in the league, and he's performed in Europe. But if we can get a bit of money for him, brilliant. And Marcos Rodriguez Vasquez is someone who has sort of slowly started to find a bit of form. A little bit ropey at the start. He did score, I think, in his first game or his second game, and then he went through a run of not scoring in 5, and then he sort of started to pick up a bit, and he got a massive goal in the Europa League for us last time out. And then lastly, and I think Nicolo Boyk, I think we've touched on him last time, and the other player that we brought in, we did bring in Ismail Yusufi on loan from Bayern, but he's now gone back to Bayern. Oh no, sorry, he's only got a couple of days left. We can't extend his loan because it's outside the window. We basically brought him in as a anchor cover with Diallo leaving, and because he's EU, it didn't impact too much on registration rules. And then we've just brought in this guy, Talal Al-Afalik, someone who we can bring put into the loan farm, hopefully, but might even turn out to be a semi-useful player for us. But he comes from Saudi, and I'm hopeful that potentially we'll either, like I said, get him out to the loan farm, or a Saudi club might even come back in from him and get a bit of money for him that way. Like I said, I think with some of these Saudi clubs and getting some of these transfer clauses in can be really, really handy. So we've got 50% of Malik Diallo's next fee, not percentage of profit. Next fee will go to us. He's worth 32 to 40 odd million. Now, a few of these clauses in the past I've managed to sell. Like look at this one for Girona for Mikel Castro, Adrian Carrillo. You know, we could get, what's that, 50% of his next fee will be owed to us. We could get 1.5 mil from selling that, which I potentially would be inclined to do if he doesn't get much game time over the season. Like, that's like 3 times more than we sort of sold him for. Well, just under, almost 2 times what we sold him for, sorry, because it was 700k with installments. But it's a decent chunk of money. So if you can really negotiate these clauses in, like I found with some of the Saudi clubs, they never end up leaving. Like, they don't leave the clubs, they just seem to stay there. But you can sell them on for big money in the future. So make sure if you're selling, even if you're fleecing them for a load of money, make sure you throw a sell-on clause in as well, because it's guaranteed bank in the future. Like look at Matt Luth, 35% of his next transfer, he's worth 9.6 to whatever. So that might be something that comes into effect next window potentially. We'll keep an eye on that one. So in terms of our competitions, we'll touch on what's happening with us in Europe in a second, but routine league win in the end, won all the domestic trophies as well. Nice and simple. And still currently rocking the same 4-3-3. Ignore these players not registered. We just played a friendly just to keep everyone fresh for the next game. So in terms of our European campaign, we went in at the second round of the Champions League this time, and we're a little bit fortunate, I would say, to get past Göteborg. We didn't play the best football. We actually went 1-0 down in this second leg as well, before Mkunatsi, of all players, did pull it back. He got 3 goals across both ties. Then we played Odds Ball Club, and at home, we had chances to put the game to bed. As you can see, Mkunatsi missed a penalty, and it was at this point I was fuming with him because he was kicking up fuss as well, and he just missed a penalty. Basically, he played in those games against Göteborg, done okay, and then was moaning at, you know, we sort of managed to keep him on side, and then he missed a penalty, and obviously it ended up costing us the tie, really, because at that point when he missed the penalty, we were playing really well, and if we'd have gone on to score it, we probably would have gone on to win it by quite a few points in the end, a few goals in the end, sorry. And so we ended up reactively sort of starting to offer him out a bit more again. And as you can see, we were really unlucky, I would say, to not go through this. And I just realised I hadn't put myself back on the screen. And our reward for then dropping down at the Europa League, and bear in mind we went straight in at the playoff because that was the third round. We got to play Falkirk, and we definitely made it harder for ourselves once again. We seem to have a sort of theme of doing this over the last few seasons in Europe, like sort of making life a bit difficult for ourselves, struggling to put the games to bed. But we did manage to get a 3-0 win on aggregate. Yeah, but what was frustrating was around those games, and I'm not sure if it was just because it's just the level disparity that we're at, but we won the cup final like 10-0, and that was like after the odds game where we lost 1-0 or something like that. But yeah, we then went and played Feyenoord, and we conceded 3 goals from corners. This one was directly off the corner, and we realised that this guy was their main sort of go-to man, so we shifted things around and tried to mark him a bit more, and it did work because we cleared the remaining corners, but then conceded to like the second and third phase. After having fought ourselves back into the game at 72 minutes to make it 2-2, we then conceded a 91st minute sort of cross back in after we'd cleared a corner, and it was really, really frustrating because it felt like, well, I mean, I know the part of the XG would be bumped by the penalty, but really felt like we should have done better with this. But then we went and beat Shakhtar 2-0, who had knocked us out on penalties, I think it was last time in the Champions League. And then we beat Lyon 1-0, and this was the vital goal from Rodriguez, where basically he seized on a sloppy pass from the left back and basically ran through on goal, had a lot of time to mess it up, but he didn't, and he put it away. And then elsewhere, Breither Blick thankfully managed to come through their Europa League qualifying. They nearly dropped out to the Dnipro. Basically, this went to extra time and Diego Polo scored. Then they overturned... sorry, what am I talking about? No. They then went to Galatasaray, were unlucky to lose 1-0. They're in the Europa League phase alongside us, which is wonderful to see. They then beat Punic 2-0 before losing to Southampton 2-1, which I don't think is actually too bad. So Southampton are our opponent. in today's game. And you know what? It's not bad to go against a really good, strong Premier League team and just come away with a 2-1 loss away from home. I think isn't terrible. The big one for me was them beating Sint-Truiden 6-1 on aggregate. I think that's a really good result against a strong Belgian outfit. And then obviously they got the results against the Ukrainian teams as well, which was really, really good because we've been around them in the coefficients lately. Elsewhere, it was disappointing for FM24, who once again went out at the first round, their first round that they went into in the second qualifying round. Obviously, they got to the quarterfinals 2 seasons ago of the Conference League, and now in the last 2 seasons, they've gone in and they've got knocked out at the first time of asking, losing to Ålesund 3-0 on aggregate. And as we were literally talking about last year with Valor getting through to the Conference League before stinking the gap out domestically and in Europe, Nats, AKUREYRI, AKUREYRI, who have actually been relegated, getting only 8 points across the whole season, had a shocker against Simbu Chisinau of Moldova, losing 4-1 across both legs. And like I said, they have actually been relegated. Like I said, only got 8 points. Seems to be a trend. One of the teams who gets into Europe always seems to be terrible and ends up just bombing out in the league as well. Last year it was Valor, who only just about stayed up. This year, Valor have actually sort of rebounded. It's the first year we've got 5 teams going to Europe as well. So both us and Breither are going to the Champions League. HK, we've touched on, will be going to the Europa League. And then Valor and FM24 will be going to the Conference League. That won't be until next season, though. And then as for the coefficients, we are sat in 13th, comfortably in 13th as well, might I add. There's no chance of anyone below really catching us this season. So we are actually, as it stands, going to go above Austria as well. We can carry on this current run, so we'll actually end up in 12th at the end of the next season, hopefully. So obviously an 11.375 and a 13.25 season are really carrying us at the moment. We're losing a 6.25, so we really need to hit another 10 minimum, another 10-point season minimum, really. And that's really going to be dependent on both us and Breither getting out of the Europa League. Which brings us nicely on to today's games. So we are playing Southampton in the match today. We are without a few key players. There's no Stojanovic and no Suarez. Stojanovic says is raring to go, but he is actually still recovering from injury, as is Suarez. Balson is just about ready to go onto the bench, so Shiapara is going in at the back. In goal, Mashuka is also not quite fully fit. He is wanted. Carrasco is someone I'm actually been bedding into the team quite a bit, and he seems doing really well. He is wanted. Nygaard is wanted. Stojanovic was actually subject to a couple of bids from Monaco. They wouldn't really give us what we wanted. If we had a release clause, they wouldn't hit it. And he wasn't that bothered about going, so he just stayed. Fred Ngoy is once again wanted again. Suarez is actually wanted as well currently, but he doesn't seem too bothered about leaving. So I think for today, the team is then going to be Sanabria at the back, or Sanabria, the Venezuelan right back, who is someone we brought in a while ago, and he is taken over from Carrillo as the upcoming fullback, really, slash displacement of Mashuka. The only reason we were not prioritizing, but playing Carrillo was just because he was non-EU. So for Sanabria's non-EU, whereas Carrillo didn't have that. But Europe, it doesn't matter. Svensson and Ngoy at the back. They've got a good relationship. They work well together. Let's not go upsetting things. We've got Capacho we can bring off the bench. Same with Luis Carrasco. Hector Barrios is the person that basically has stepped up with Matt Lou leaving. Again, he's foreign, but so is Matt Lou. And we're just playing him over Ragnarsson because he is just a better all-round player. The Arasuba in at the anchor. We got Yusufi on the bench we can bring on for his last little game for us. AD Bezic has sort of really come on nicely this season. He's basically established himself as our number 1 Metzala. Abinho, and then Oviedo for the pace on the wing to be basically playing the crosses in for Rodriguez with Nygaard on the right. And then we've got Schmidt on the bench. Schmidt is staying. He's actually now wanted by Al Ali, but I'm hopeful he's going to stay basically until February, which will then give us the full time that we can then call him up to be an Icelandic national. So hopefully he'll play for our national team, and he'll give us some much needed depth and strength in that number 10 role, really, probably be our best number 10. So let's see how we get on with this one, guys, against Southampton. It's going to be tough. It'll be a really tough game, but who knows? Stranger things have happened. It's going to be a tough game today, make no bones about it, away from home at St Mary's. Big game, big opposition, Premier League opposition, but we've just beat Lyon, we've beaten Shakhtar, and we've had some massive results in the past as well. Breither pushed Southampton at this ground. Gave him a really good run for the money. So why can't we? Why can't we think that we can do something here? Yeah, why can't we? We've definitely got the quality, and it would be absolutely huge for us if we can have 3 wins from our first 4 games. You know, that basically will guarantee us qualification in some form. If we can get top 8, even better. I didn't even say it out loud. I was literally thinking, we're keeping the ball really nicely here. And then Diarra Super goes and gives the ball away. That's the only downside about him. He's got a lot of positives. But that's one of the reasons why I am not concerned. Unlucky. The keeper really came out fast then. Why I'm not concerned about the prospect of losing Diarra Super in the future, because what he brings, he also definitely drags down with his sort of overall ball retention. I think he's offside. Yeah. With his sort of general poor ball retention, his passing and stuff does let him down quite a bit. But the way he passed that ball around then was really nicely and created that chance against Gregory Ranu with Rodriguez Vasquez. Well away by Svensson. There was some interest in Svensson as well from MLS, but I don't know if that's kind of died down a little bit. So I'm expecting a busy January as well, to be honest with you. I wouldn't be surprised if there's if we see some movement in some of our players. Did I actually... Young boys are smashing Barty, aren't they? Great save by Shiapara. No, I'm not marking important players. He looks unbelievable. Edgardo Mendoza. Let's just smash into this guy. Dickin, sorry. And then Carlos Alberto. He's definitely more... Yeah, I was going to say he's definitely being played as like... Maybe like an inverted inside fullback or something like that. Inverted fullback. Either that or he's just being played as a very defensive fullback. Sitch is injured. That's not good. We'll go with Lerva. We actually managed to convince quite a few of these players who were constantly moaning about game time last year to accept just being squad players like Diarra Suba, Schmidt, etc. Braither. I was trying to see what Braither were playing then. Brighton. So they played Brighton before actually, and were quite unlucky. I think they went out on like pens or extra time or something like that. I can't remember. They were unlucky though. I think it was in like the quarterfinals or something. Well, what the hell was Shiapara doing then? Completely threw himself out the way of the shot. I didn't see anything wrong with it, personally. Yeah, I didn't see anything wrong with it. But I would love to see what the keeper was thinking. Comes over. Interesting. I mean, he nearly missed it. He actually nearly missed that. But keeper threw himself completely out the way. Rogue shout. Okay, we've shown them enough respect so far. Oh, actually take off play for set pieces. I'm going to try tiki-taka in it around them. Decent tempo, short passing. Let's just ping the ball around. Yeah, inverted fullback, thought so. Okay, not great, not great. Yeah, let's see if we can keep the ball away from them and start doing those nice little passing moves that we were doing last time. So who have they brought on? Karabos Masuras, looks alright to be fair. And Zipper. Rometh Zipper. He looks brilliant. Wow. Smash into him. May wind them up. Oh, and Brighton have taken the lead against Brighton. Could be a bad night for Icelandic football, this. I'm going to go wide because they have a lot of space down their flanks when they have the ball. Because well, they're both playing as inverted wing backs now, actually. So, and they've got Zipper making it a back three. So they just seem to be really sort of tucked in, watching them just play then in that shape. So if we can counter wide, which is not going to happen when Lerber's losing the ball like that, we can just sort of put a bit of pressure down the flanks. Nice pass. I think he's onside. And he scores. Yeah, no question of offside. Lovely goal. Lovely pass from Abinho. And a lovely run from Rodriguez Vasquez. First time pass, just pings it around the outside and Vasquez is in. Makes no mistake. Finishes it. Lovely. Now, can we go and do the same again? Yes, Ungoy. Yes, Barrios. Come on. Okay, don't mind it. Don't mind it. Don't like it either, though. Probably let's take Oviedo off in a bit. He's not having a great game. Oh, come on, Sanabria. This is a goal. Ugh. I'm going to be fuming with that. That was really poor play from Sanabria. Really poor defensive play. Got absolutely turned inside out. He should do a lot better with this now. Yeah. Oh, Brighton had actually... Braithwaite had actually levelled at Brighton, but Brighton have now made it 2-1. Nice. Ngoy, come on. Yeah. Pass was there for Oviedo. He's offside. He's off. I think he was offside. I think he just went a little bit too soon. Just a shame. Because it was a lovely finish, a lovely little move, but I think he just went a fraction early. Yeah. This is where he's like miles off and it wasn't a fraction. Yeah, comfortably offside. Okay. Definitely scope though. Definitely the scope there to keep doing that. Hang on. Are we not? Why aren't we pressing that? Rookie. Come on. This is a lovely move from them. Yeah, lovely move. That was shocking from us, but a really nice move. Just watching the marker, the man rush running in from the box. Lovely move, but like, look at this. This could be so poorly defended. So poorly defended. Right, we need to make some changes here because we're going to salvage anything from this game. We're going to bring Stojanovic on. May not be quite quite fully fit, but he can definitely do a job. That's really not working. I don't know why he's doing that. Yeah, Stojanovic. Right, come on. Can the two subs combine? Drive a comeback. Well, they did combine, and they fed the ball to Abinio, who smashed it in. Mashuka and Stojanovic keeping the ball really nicely on the right before working it into the midfield, and then Abinio just drills it in across the ball. Feeds it back. Abinio picking up the space, first time. Bang. Lovely. Keeper had no chance. More of the same, boys. More of the same. Nygold's not having a great game, but I don't really have anyone that I can bring on for him. Come on. Feed him. Score. He's so right-footed, so left-footed, man. You could tell he just did not want to hit that on his right, which is a shame because he has scored with his right foot before. But you could tell he just really didn't want to take the shot on. Good block. Could have gone anywhere, mind, but we'll take it. Braither have made it 2-2. Come on, boys. Let's see if we can do our bit as well. I might just bring on Yusufi for Diarra, and yeah, I'll just leave him at that. Just someone who's just a little bit more technical. What's having a stinker? Absolute stinker out there. But like, I don't really have any options to bring on for him because Suarez wasn't sort of ready to the selection. But Yusufi might just give us a little bit more in the middle of the park, just in terms of sort of progressing moves. Offside. Sigtrygson, by the way, who equalised for Braither, used to be one of ours, and we sent him out on loan to Braither in the loan farm, and they signed him permanently. Come on, lads. There's a chance here. There's a chance. Chance for a 3-3. Nice. That's it. Oh, he didn't need to. He cuts inside, and then he hits it near post. Why didn't he just bend it into the far post? He's done that so often. Just bent it in across the keeper. I don't know why he didn't do that. Carpaccio is all. Yes, when I said Carpaccio is always going to win them, but his heading is just lacking. Heading ability is lacking, unfortunately. They're going to try and play it out from the back, but they've literally got men sat there, and then they just go and do that. Chance was on then to try and feed it through to Nygold, and he definitely has the ability, Lerva. Abinio, it's going to go to... Oh, lovely. Not the way I needed that to land for him. By the way, everyone, as we go into the last 10 minutes, if you want to do us a massive favour, drop a like down below. Leave a comment. What do you think? Is this game going to finish 3-2? Just put Y or N. I'll know what you mean. Oh. He's put them away before. He has pinged them in before. Look at the chances. It's pretty even. Game a few chances. Leon smashing Lech Poznan. This is it. Last chance saloon now, isn't it? Igor, he's just had a stinker. He's had an absolute stinker. Whoever wins it, Stojanovic. Vasquez! He dinks the keeper. That's where the high press has really worked for us in this game, and it's worked in a few other games, to be fair. Like, I don't always do it, and I think I don't always do it because it knackers the players. But today, it has really paid off. And it's Stojanovic again, and then he just dinks it in, kisses the underside of the bar, and it's 3-all. It's 3-all in Southampton. We'll take this. We'll take this 3-all, and hopefully Braither managed to get the 2-all against Brighton. We'll have that. And I mean, I think it's safe to say that that was probably a fair result. Like, both teams are quite evenly matched, and Marcos Rodriguez Vasquez delivering, absolutely delivering. He's been really good now. He's really started to find form. Braither did manage to hold on to get the draw against Brighton, which leaves them on 4 points, and leaves us on 7. So both teams in with a shout, I would say, of going through at this point in time, halfway point in the Europa League. They've got Spezia. I'm pretty sure we've also got Spezia. And they've got Twente Young Boys in final, which is going to be tough for them for Braither. As for us, I guess I'm pretty sure we've got Spezia. We've got Hoffenheim, which I'd back us to maybe get something out of. And then Bordeaux, Tel Aviv, and Spezia. I think realistically we should be looking at least, 7 points minimum from those last 4 games. You know, you throw in the odds of BS loss, maybe against Hoffenheim. But I reckon we should be getting wins against Spezia and Bordeaux. No reason why we can't get anything against Tel Aviv. We've played them before. Lost on pens. So we'll be looking to get revenge from that, and I reckon we're probably a better team now than we were back then. I mean, yeah, that was 7 years ago, so surely we can do that. I mean, yeah, just had a quick look at that game. You only have to look at some of the players we had back then. Alex Gomes, Ingmar, Arne Christensen, Yari Verscharen, do you remember when we had him, everyone? Yeah, like Alex Gomes plays for Sport Recife. He's done quite well. He's certainly developed quite nicely. He seems to have really sort of kicked on there from what he was with us. He was definitely nowhere near this good mentally, I don't think, when he was with us. Christensen, I think, wonder if he's still out in Kongsvinger. Yeah, he's done really well for himself, to be fair to him. But yeah, if we can't get a result out of this, then yeah, disappointing. So everyone, with that, we'll probably look to bring it back around one of these games, maybe both of these games. I don't really have much to talk about. Well, actually, I might have a bit to talk about in terms of transfers, because it's going to be January transfer window in Europe and everywhere else but Iceland. So we will see where we're at, see who's still a third player, or whether we've lost anyone else, and also hope that both us and Braither can get through to the next round of the Europa League. Nice to see Juju Stankom repping at the top there for Serbia. They were a team we were trying to big up while we were doing Partizan last year. So yeah, nice to see them doing quite well. But yeah, so far so good, I would say, for this Europa League campaign. And if we can get, obviously last season got to the semis, final this year would be nice. But I think that might be counting our chickens a little bit there. But yeah, solid game, exciting game, solid result. Move on to the next one. I'll see you soon, everyone. Take care. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.